go. This your time to shine. Knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already.
You want me to say that?
Josh, say it. Josh, answer the question.
What was it?
Say the question.
Our condition is beyond recognition, and the strangest things will happen the second you go and take your hands.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna start. Okay, ignore the cameras. This is what we do every week, man. We are here for you guys, with you guys. We care about you guys. We want to keep coming in here, so we got to show the community what we do. Okay? Because the powerful stuff is the stuff that we do in here. I can't talk about it because it's too powerful. It's exciting, it's neat, and we want to see you guys when you get out.
Welcome to Recovery Soapbox, sponsored by Brighton Recovery Center. I have Ian Acker and Rachel Santizo. Rachel, tell us a little bit about what you do.
My name is Rachel Santizo, and I've been a part of FTR from the beginning. I think it was like the fourth class at the park. We would meet on Saturdays at 10, and FTR has just been a huge part of my recovery. I've been involved in Best Friends with Ian for the past 6 years, from service to going into the jail to helping out. Anything basically that he asked me, I'm here for.
Yep.
Ian, founder of Fit to Recover.
Yep, an executive director. I've been that way since we started in the park and had run groups at USARA, and I was paying myself off a notepad and $12 an hour. So
Ian, about, a couple months ago, gave me a call and told me about some work he was doing in the jails, and I'm blown away by it. And I wanted to get together and sit down and talk about it and learn more about it. Can you tell me what you've been doing in the jails, what you're doing with it, and we'll go from there.
So the jail program, it starts, like we said, we go to Oxbow, and then we go to the ladies program once. It's once a week, twice in the male pod, and it's an introduction to FTR and an opportunity for them to go somewhere when they get out. It starts boot camp style. I wish we could give high fives, but we're not allowed to give high fives, so that connection piece is gone. But it's a lot of eye contact. It's a lot of love from the heart, and it's kind of bringing them up, having them demonstrate exercises, and making them feel kind of like a leader in that sense. We'll do our high knees, our jump squats, and we'll do some burpees. Around the world, mountain climbers and planks. We'll do 3 rounds of that, and then, the process is very organic, and it's sometimes made up on the spot because it's all a vibe off of the energy in the room. So if the energy's super down, I'll stop them and I'll be like, we need you today. We need you today. We need you today. So help us with your energy. And then we get into jump squats, and for some reason, jump squats just make people happy.
It's the unity.
Yeah.
So we count as we do it, and we count together, and that's the unity of it.
And then everyone feels like they're doing something together, and the movement's not too hard, that everyone can participate. And then we'll do jumping jacks together. That's another one that gets everyone involved. But the whole idea is to make the new person feel the most comfortable while listening to music they haven't heard in a little while. And then that right song comes on at the right time, and then it's all organic from there, and it's all grace.
Set 2's better than set 1, y'all. Set 2's better than set 1. 3, 2, work. Hey, we're doing 5 all together. 3, 2, work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Just be a race.
It's grace. You don't have to try after that. Once you get someone to a certain point, I do it at Brighton too with dumbbells. Is once you get someone to a certain point, you can make them do anything you want. You just have to finesse them enough, and you have to build enough trust and enough connection that once you get to that place, then you're attentive. And once you get them to that place and they're attentive, then you give them your game on recovery. So that's what we were doing with the whiteboard. Is we were talking about if me and Rachel went to the bar, where would we be tomorrow, right? Because we've tried it so many times, and then when they're in a place to hear something, that's when you give them your experience.
Ready, down! 1, 2.
Okay, we're going 3.
Ready, down! 1, 2, 3.
Good work, y'all. Get up. Get up. Okay, we're going 4. 1, 2.
Ready, down! 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good work back there, baby. I see you. I see you. 5. 1.
Ready, down! 1,
Get up. Get up.
3, 4, 5.
Good. Ready?
So some of the feedback we've gotten, well, it's awesome because the clinical director now wants to participate in the classes, which is really neat because that shows his level of involvement. Tamara's been very supportive. Working with Odyssey House, Adam Cohen has been super supportive in his role as CEO over there. We've been working on grants. Vishal, our grant writer, has been working with their grant writer over at Odyssey House. And just some of the stuff that the inmates talk about is just that, like, this is the one class that makes me feel like I'm not in jail. This is the one time that I get to breathe. This is the one time that I feel connected to my community. All those different things. At the end is just is another reason why we keep showing up, you know?
I was running dogs groups in the jail. And DOG stands for Drug Offender Group Services. So it's the general population. And I would go and have conversations with them. But when I'd have these conversations, I would talk about treatment, but I would talk about Fit to Recover a lot because Fit to Recover is a huge rock in my sobriety. So I brought the idea back to Odyssey House about Fit to Recover going in there. And it took some time. I had to meet with the director over there. I had to meet with Odyssey House. I had to meet with Ian. I had to try to talk all of them into it because the funding and us getting in there. I also had to talk because I was female and there's males in there, getting a speaker in there because music is how we get lost and also how we connect at the same time. And so it took about 6 months. We did background checks, we did classes, and finally they said we could try it.
And the thing about Rach, when she brings me an idea and she says, I feel it in my gut, then I'm like, all right, well, whatever you want to do, we'll do it.
And he supports it. It's true. It's so true.
So you mentioned about 30 people that got out of jail, had come and visited Fit to Recover, participated in a class. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So there's actually been a couple stories that stick out to me. One of them in particular, he showed up. You get out of jail. Well, this person got out of jail about 4:00 in the morning and came straight here before going anywhere else, before getting a phone, trying to contact anyone. He came straight here to the gym. So we set him up with a scholarship because that's what we do. If you go through the CATS, then you automatically get a scholarship. You show up and we give you 30 days free here, at least 30 days free. I remember someone had donated some clothes here and I happened to have them upstairs. So made him sure that he had clothes because he didn't have any clothes to work out in. So gave him some clothes, gave him some food, and then he went on his way. Well, he came back and he worked out. Like he came back and he was a part of. And then he kept coming back, but he would bring people too. Because there's also an aftercare, there's a weekly group for the CATS individuals. And he would go to the group and he would talk about FTR and he would bring people here. And so that was super magical to me.
Another gentleman painted our doors. We've been getting a lot of, well,
Yeah.
the
No,
doors
it's-
aren't
yeah,
finished
just-
yet, but
Right.
we get a lot of art. People draw us a lot of different things.
Yeah.
One gentleman didn't have workout attire either, and one of our members actually brought him to the DI and got him some clothes and brought him back, and then he worked out. They participated in the music program. We've given them rides home. They've brought different people to us. And this is relatively still a new program, right? So we haven't seen a ton of people, but we've seen I would say about 30% of the people that we see in there show up and come. And then, life hits, and we just hope we see them again. But at least they know that we're still here.
Go home, okay? Rach goes back to her crib. I go back to my crib. Mind you, today is my 7 years of sobriety, so. Thank you. So it's 5 p.m. I'm thinking about all the shit that I just threw away, right? After 3 beers, 5 shots. I go home. Does that make sense? So when you guys say thank you for everything that you do for us, like thank you for everything that you do for us.
So I see two people that that went down with addiction and that everything else that came from it, some of them some further than others. And not everybody goes to that kind of shame and guilt and then comes through it and says, I guess if you're doing it the right way, you do want to give back. Mm-hmm. But I just, this whole place has been built. You've had a whole community to do it, but it's been, really when I look, I'm sitting across from the table, there's been a whole bunch of others, all kinds, but that's from you and the park, and now it's translating to jail, and both of you, you're right here. But there is a difference in that, and you say it right. I mean, it's behind us on those shirts, not for profit, for purpose. And so when you're asking for funding, you're not asking so that you can drive your new AMG. You're asking so that you can sustain and live to give back.
Bingo. Mm-hmm.
Period.
Bingo. Well, because and I think if you dig down a little bit deeper on that, it's because monetary things I have found in my life and what I've seen will not bring me happiness. An AMG Mercedes will not make me happy. Therefore, I don't strive to get an AMG Mercedes, right? The foundation at FTR and seeing people safe and connected make me happy. And I think that's what we want to fund. We don't want to fund expenses that allow certain people to drive nicer cars. Like, that doesn't interest, I think, people at this organization. I think, thank you for thinking of that. That makes a lot of sense. What is most important to me and Rachel and everyone on this team is that we sustain the safe place that we have here at FTR.
So that being said, if anybody's watching and you have a grant coming and you're applying for a grant, but for anybody that's watching and so that we can put it up, I mean, you can go to fitsrecover.com. But specifically, though, are you doing a GoFundMe for the work you're doing in the jail? Is it called anything? Should we come up with it? Me
and Rach made we made a video, dude. We tried. We did our best. Rach,
do you have that video? We could play it.
It's somewhere. It was really well shot. It was really well done. It's just donor fatigue is another thing that we have to worry about. Like, we don't want to keep asking the same people for money. So if you guys know any people that want to
that drive the AMG that want to donate a part of something,
absolutely,
that then can donate so that this work can continue.
Yes, and they can contact me directly at Ian@fittorecover.org or acker0012@gmail.com. And I think that's the beauty of people helping people is, Scott Anderson from Zions Bank gave us a large donation, and that bleeds down into the community, and ultimately that's that full circle of him supporting us so we can support other people.
What about Gail Miller? Gail Miller's got $1 billion. She could give some money. Gail, are you out there?
You watch this podcast.
Gail, for real, is a good cause.
But I mean, this is ultimately the hard thing with nonprofits, right? Is that you're not getting a set amount of monies every month. Like, our membership's $40. Our expenses are $40,000, right? So where do you make up that? And that's where the
Gail Miller. Gail, come on, Gail.
Ultimately, that is the answer. People,
yeah.
people helping people, and just knowing that we'll be responsible and support the mission, which we always have and always will do.
I want to take it back to the people that you're helping, these inmates. Is there something that you see? I mean, to me, the system, and this could go into a whole nother direction. We won't quite go down that rabbit hole, but the system in so many ways is broken. And you have for-profit prisons and then not-for-profit going in. Not that the people that own these jails or prisons are bad, but when you go in there and you're talking and you see it, is there anything that stands out to you that's either really broken that you feel like could be fixed?
That's a good question.
Well, I think it all comes down to the same thing. It's a cycle, right? You go to jail, you get charges, you get out, getting employment, getting housing, any of that. It's like you're already dinged from the beginning. But doing it, coming out alone and feeling like you don't have anywhere to go, that's completely different. So if you go in there and say, hey, there's these resources, and actually help people, like build them up and be like, I know you've done this, but this is how you can get out of it, from filling out applications. Like sometimes that is super challenging for people because their education. So helping with that stuff to help like break down the barriers and the cycle from keeping people in the cycle. Because I know for me, like it'd be easier just to go back out and do what I'm used to than
Flip
to actually
a pack, right?
Yeah,
Flip a pack.
exactly. And where I feel most comfortable because they understand me.
Oh yeah, and that's where the recidivism comes in.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier to
I think what you do.
Right.
I think it's I think Rachel said it perfectly. I think it's a cycle, and I think a good idea would be if we could find families that inmates could live with when they get out.
like foster families, but different.
Yeah, for inmates, because that's changing their environment, and that's through osmosis teaching them what a productive life looks like, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't go because we've had people come out of the program, they don't have anywhere. This happened 4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. He came out of the program. He said, "I got your number." He called me. I said, "Come to the 4:30 class." He came to the 4:30 class, and then he said, "I don't have a ride home." And I said, "Sure, I'll take you home. That's great. Where do you live?" And he's like, "I don't have anywhere to live." And he's like, "Just drop me off at the Motel 6. And inherently, that's the problem. What are you supposed to do from 5:30 to 12 at the Motel 6?
Drugs, dope.
Right.
And you don't have any money, so what are you going to do? You're going to do what you know best, and that's flip a pack and then get a room and go back and start that same cycle over again.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys make a difference massively, and I'm grateful for what you guys have done for me in my recovery, the example that you set every day. And if there's anybody out there that has or wants to donate at all, you can go to fittorecover.com. .org, sorry. fittorecover.org. You can edit out the .com.
That's all right, .org.
What happens if you do fittorecover.com?
I don't know.
It goes to fittorecover.org.
It might.
No, it doesn't. I don't know.
Like, I don't know, does it? We don't have our phones.
should.
We can't tell.
Is there anything that you guys, you have boot camps, you have classes throughout the week. Is there anything that you...
We just started a music program that's super stimulating and super exciting. A lot of people are... because music's so vulnerable, it's a really great place to start expressing your emotions and talking about how you feel behind a microphone just like this. People would love to do this podcast. You just have to be asked to do the podcast, right? So it's finding your voice in recovery. That's every Wednesday at 5:30, and then we freestyle on Saturdays at noon, which is really cool.
It is.
Music, creativity, exercise, diet, service. It's not even, if you're struggling, if you're not struggling, if you want to be a part of a community that is unlike any other I've seen, I would say globally, there's a lot of people doing things. There's a lot of incorporating exercise and different things out there, but not the way Fit to Recover is doing it. Thank you for what you guys do. Thank you for what you give back. And if you feel like donating, you feel like participating, come down to Fit to Recover. What's the address here?
789 West, 1390 South.
fittorecover.org. Come and be a part of it. Give, do what you can, be a part of this greatness that these guys that give back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh with Recovery Soapbox signing off. Josh with Recovery Soapbox signing off. Josh with Recovery Soapbox signing off.
One more time.
Josh with Recovery Soapbox signing off.
There we go.